continuing bonds or legacy is really about, or has been up to this point, really about bringing him into the world, and sharing his life with the world as much as I do my living children, who are now 10 and 6. Um, so that's kind of how I see it, right? And so I carve out time to be Henry's mom too, because in the busyness of having littles at home, oftentimes they are front and center. And so for me, continuing bonds are all of the ways that I parent um, my child who has died. Because I think that, you know, um, I really see it as advocating for normalizing death and grief. Because when we can create these spaces to honor and celebrate our kids, or our loved ones who have died, it's really just normalizing all of it, right? And so celebrating it and honoring it, because really we're celebrating and honoring, and remembering the love, because that's what grief is love.
Think for me, continuing the bond is a lot thinking about the lessons that Jacob taught our family, because it was a long life of living in and out of the hospital. But at the same time, Jacob really taught us that the only thing we have is the moment. So can forget that many, many days, getting busy. But that's what I'm really trying to live by, like live in the moment and doing that, because that's what he did.
We felt really passionate when Addie passed away about starting a research foundation, because there wasn't any research really going on for her rare cancer. So we dove headfirst into a pediatric cancer research foundation, which we've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars. Our goal is to get to a phase 1 trial for kids with no more options. And I felt really passionate about that for the first couple of years. But I started to feel a couple years in that I didn't feel as connected personally to my daughter. It was just a public service that we did in her name. So I do believe that that will be her legacy, is when we save another child just like her through our phase 1 trial, that will be her legacy. But what I've started to realize now, 3, 4, and 5 years out, is how I really want to connect with her and what comes through for me, and really what is my legacy going to be because of her. You've been through this devastating loss and really feeling empowered by your unique journey. So for me, I think legacy has really changed sort of through trial and error. I still do the research foundation, but it's not my primary soul feeling with her presence anymore. It's really more of how she's affected me to do something to help other moms like me. So I think it has changed, and I would tell anybody that's still searching that to keep trying. And I fell through a lot of I gave a lot of presentations. I tried to find my way a lot, as most of the people in this group know, through trial and error, and eventually it just comes to you. It doesn't always come right at the beginning. So keep trying, and try anything and everything that you think will connect you to your child. Some may feel better than others.
You don't have to start a foundation like Christina, or write a book like Maria, or start a nonprofit like Eileen, or raise all kinds of money for Make-A-Wish like Marlena, and speak in your workplaces about grief in the workplace like Rob and Michelle. But it can be just it. I just wanted to state that, that it can be something small, right? And it has been, and I think that the continuous thread between all of our shares is that we're digging deep, and we're listening to our hearts, and we're following that nudge, however we feel it. We're listening to that voice. I like to say that that's Henry talking to me, but we listen to our hearts and we follow the nudge, no matter how big or small. And if it feels right, we stick with it. And if it doesn't feel right, then we don't. And there's no pressure